We're here. Hey guys. It is Friday and this is SketchUp Live. I am Aaron and hanging out with me back again is Jody Gates.
That's me. Hi,
We're
everybody.
gonna I'm sorry, go for it.
I just said hi. That's
Oh.
all I said, Aaron.
I guess I don't want to talk too much. I'm trying to defer everything to you. Wait, what's that? Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. What?
That's my favorite
Uh
thing about remote work is the constant. No, you go first. No, you. No, you.
you think we'd have that worked out. I can't actually see Jody's face, so I'm missing half of the cues of communication in only being able to hear him, just like you guys. So that's why we're stepping on each other. But hey, welcome. It's Friday, and it looks like we got people all over the world. Yeah, popping in here. Uh, uh, oh, hey, I like that. Nathaniel Wilkerson started with complex roofs are the bane of my existence. Whoa,
I love that the phrase "bane of my existence" is just it's just accepted verbiage. It's just a thing, and everybody's like, "Yes, I get it."
got that. Got that. I feel like it should carry more weight than it does, but it's just the bane.
Speaking of Bane, the new season of Harley Quinn just came out, the animated series, and so I just always want to talk in the voice that the character from that cartoon, that animated series,
Every time you hear
talks. I don't know
bane.
if you've heard it. Yeah.
I
It's
don't know.
not a very menacing voice.
Ah,
Sorry,
uh,
already derailing the conversation.
that's okay. I was gonna wander down the Nolan, some whip out some Nolan facts about Bane, but we don't have to go there.
You can do
Um,
that.
yeah, welcome
I
guys.
haven't,
So
I haven't
we got people from all over the world coming in. A lot of UK showing up. Look at this. Devon, Yorkshire, Poland. I know that's not UK. I switched there.
so I'm confused here because Barry said he's taking the dog for a walk. Is he listening to us while walking the dog?
Wow, that's
We are in an
dedication.
amazing time.
I'm not that dedicated personally. I mean, if I wasn't sitting here, no, I mean I'd be on too, of course. Yeah. Thanks for being dedicated, Barry. Yeah, welcome one and all. Welcome to the SketchUp UN, where we all hang out together and talk about SketchUp across the world. So today we are going to get into some roof geometry. I'm not planning on doing any framing. We did a whole live stream a couple months ago where I framed roofs with trusses, that kind of thing. For this, I really wanted to talk more about just generating geometry, getting those slopes up there, different ways to go about creating simple. We'll start with simple and then work our way up to a more complex roof. And we're just gonna just kind of hit that. If you guys have specific questions or specific instances, I know it's hard in chat to go create a roof that looks like blah 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 blah, that kind of thing. So, hey, we do have the forum. So forums.sketchup.com. There is Jody can actually post a link directly into the topic we have going on, where you guys can post images if there's a specific roofing question you have. But like I said, I don't really want to get into framing or finishing or anything like that. We're just really talking about the slope, those pitch geometries, and getting them into your model.
I'm going to be honest. I'm a little bit confused because I thought it was titled "Pitch Perfect Geometry" or modeling, and I thought it was going to be a musical show. I have all this music queued up, and now it's wasted.
Oh, hey, you want to start singing, Jody? I'll pause the modeling, or maybe I'll just head down to model and you just, throw some out there.
Let's be clear. When it comes to me and singing, "Pitch Perfect" is not the appropriate word choice.
Jody's more of a freestyle rapper, is what he's saying, guys, folks.
That's right. Interpretive. I'm an interpretive artist.
All right, so let's hop in. Let's do this thing. All right, so we're gonna get into this. I created some simple geometry here to represent walls. I just created a whole bunch of boxes of different shapes and sizes. But
Can I stop you first for a specific ask?
Fire away.
Peggy, you would like to see that shirt a little better.
There's my Darthurian man. That work?
Something about it looks like there's like some motion blur around his arms, so to me, it looks like he's flying.
I think the issue is it's kind of a yellow. It looks like old paper, And I think the green screen is picking that up a little bit and giving me some gray in there. So yeah, there probably is a little bit of flicker around here where there's lots of lines and stuff. But yeah, in the real world, he's sitting still. But yeah,
In
we can do that.
the real fake world.
That's right.
Okay, so I'm seeing mansard. I'm seeing mansard roof. I'm seeing A-frame. Randy would like to see a roof in D sharp or a G flat.
Nice way to take that A to another level. Yeah, let's hop in and talk about this. Right, we're just gonna go some general things before we even put a roof on. So here I have some walls. This is a 10 by 20 box, 5.5 inch walls. Generally speaking, if I go in and model something and I'm modeling it for design or frame or anything like that, the wall thickness that I will use is the finished wall. This just comes from my background where it was design. So the bearing width was what I was concerned about. I really wasn't concerned about the finish of the exterior interior, where this will end up being 6.5 inches total, something like that. For me, the studs, the plates were going to be 5.5. That's what I modeled at. So that's what this is. A big thing when I go in and model geometry on top of walls, the first thing I want to do is separate the geometry, right? So right here, this is all loose geometry. You can see pretty simple. It's just a rectangle, did an offset push pull, got all my geometry. I'm going to grab it all and make it a group before I draw anything else. This means when I come in and I start drawing my roof geometry on top of here, it's not going to weld with the wall. That's pretty much the worst case scenario, of course, is having all of your stuff together. And then when you want to take the roof off, you have to go in and pick and hide individual pieces of geometry. That's not a way to do it. The second thing, when we talk about roof framing, what I don't want to see, what I don't want to do is, I'm going to pick on our own training materials, right? I'm going to draw a rectangle. Here's a line right down the middle, and I'm going to grab that line and move it straight up. And we can close it up by going like this. And that's all you need to know. See you guys next week. No.
Done.
The problem here is that this roof comes down to nothing at the end, right? And that's no good. This is, if I put, no matter how I frame that, frame with trusses or sticks or some space age polymer, it doesn't really matter what it is. If it comes down to nothing right here, nothing can't support a whole lot of load, this is not going to be a good way to do it. So at the very least, what I probably want to do is something more like this. So I would come in here, oops, missed the corner. Go like that, give that some depth, probably a specific depth based on the heel of your whatever member that is, again, if it's a stick or something like that. I think a standard heel height for a 2x4 truss at 612 was 4 3/16 inches.
It's extra fun when we do roof stuff since you have the background in roof stuff, so you can use like real roofing words as opposed to other times where you just sort of, use thingamajig and like you sound like you know what you're talking about right now, which is kind of new for me. It's kind of neat.
I'm trying. I'm pretending. Yeah, I haven't had to make any terms up yet. I'll wander somewhere. We'll end up somewhere that I don't know what I'm doing. I feel confident in that. Just less likely to. I'm going to make up less things than normal.
Good.
All right.
Good. I guess good.
So there's a couple things I could do from here, right? If I was a math guy, not a thing, not what I am. I could probably calculate what the heel height would be based on the span. So a span of 10 foot with a 4.3 heel height, the ridge is going to be a number. That could happen. I'm not that guy. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to grab this line right here. I'm going to go to rotate. And I don't know if I ever installed my keylogger. I said I was going to do that last time, but I still haven't. So I just use the shortcut key of Q to get that there. I'm going to take this, I'm going to option rotate. And by default, rotate is asking you to put in, see down at I point in the right direction, down over there at the very bottom, underneath my keyboard right here. The default it's asking for is angle. but you don't have to put an angle. You can actually put in a slope. So in the US, slope is usually rise over run. So it's rise over 12. So over 12 inches, how high do I go up? I'm going to put 6 and then a colon and then 12. And that's going to give me a 612 slope right there. I'm going to grab this guy right here again, do the exact same thing, bring this, option, rotate that to 612, enter, and that gives me 2 lines that cross, and that would be a 612 10-foot profile. And then if this was just a gable roof like this, I would just grab that, pull it right down like that, and then that would be the start of my roof. So from there,
easy mode.
That's right. We're done. I would take that. Ooh, almost done. Make group. So that would be the step one basics of how I would do all roofs. They would all start off with that basic set of geometry. Stuff's going to change, of course, and have different slopes, and that's just going to change how far I go. I might have non-symmetric where one slope's higher or something like that. Doesn't really matter. When I'm looking at the end, it's just like that. So the first thing that comes up there is, well, what if we got a hip roof, right? What if this leans back right here? So let's hop right over. That's why I got examples, opportunities, examples for days here. So I would probably do the same thing, right? So start with this shape, and then give me that heel height. And then what I would possibly do here is maybe something like this. Grab this shape right here, grab the actual face, not just the line, grab the actual face, and I can option rotate that to 6/12. I'm going to make that a group temporarily. You'll see why in a second. I can take this one right here, same thing. I can rotate that. Option, rotate that up, 6/12. And that gives me that initial geometry. That
is it. Transom had a comment about overhang. Is that something you'll get into after a bit, or is there some natural part of that comes with this?
Yeah, we'll talk about how to add overhangs. Generally speaking, well, I guess it depends on the roof. If I'm doing something like this, what I would probably end up doing is after the fact, come in here and drop my overhang on. So we'll come back to it. We'll do that. For a hip roof, I guess I could do the same thing even. I could just grab this and then do the same thing. Take this face, option, rotate that up to 6/12. Nope, 6/12. There we go. If I want to do all the sides, I could do the same thing. I do want to say that, oops, that's what I did. I did a semicolon instead of a colon. That's why I got a weird thing there. Something like that would work. Roofs can be messy. I'm just going to point that out right now. But the nice thing about roofs is a lot of times when you're on roofs, you'll have the same pitch occurring throughout a building. So you can actually establish that pitch with one surface and then take that surface and put it multiple places. That was one of the reasons I made this into a group right at the beginning, is because I wasn't sure if I was going to have to grab that and copy it around. In this case, I didn't have to, so I can actually explode that. Once that's done like that, I can do some quick intersection. So just grab all those planes, right click, intersect face with selection, and then I can just pretty much grab the top like this and delete it. And with that, you got a hip roof. So that's a way to do it. That works really well if I have things like non-symmetric hips. So if the face is not 6/12, it's 12/12 or something like that. If I have something different, that's a good way to do it. Let's look. I am going to talk about overhangs. I want to keep going here though, because I want to show you guys another way that I could go about that. Do the same thing here. I'm going to take this, just the edge.
Ransom approves of that. Disappointed that he had not thought to use the rotating planes method before.
Hey, that's what I'm here for. If you had already thought of it, then you guys wouldn't need me. Aw.
It's true.
So I'm going to rotate just that edge up. I'm going to find the middle of this side drag that straight up, and I'm going to grab, double click that and make it a group. Take that group and I'm going to stick it in about the middle. It doesn't actually matter where, just somewhere along this line. And then what I can do, I can actually explode at that point. I don't need it to be separate. I just need to get it off of, unstick it from the front. And now if I grab all these edges like this, I can use follow me. Oh, which I haven't even added to my, oh, hold on. We got to get that up here. That's not going to work. Follow me. I can say follow me and then hit this triangle, and that'll give me that same geometry. That works really well. In this particular case, something like this, where it's a simple box, I can just take half of the standard span, model that, just do a follow me, whip it all around. That becomes a little more work when you have, you know, a footprint more like this, which we'll get to. But with this, yeah, follow me, have it go around, you're done. Make that a group. Let's back up.
You might have a real future in roof modeling.
Hey.
Design.
Or real past. I got history. I got history, son. Yeah, so when we talk about overhangs, this can be, it's really kind of up to you how you want to do it. Well, I mean, it's all up to you. We're just throwing out options. But overhangs can be added before or after. One of the things I run into with overhangs, and the reason that I struggle with them personally, is it adds a bunch of extra geometry hanging down, and then trying to keep that clean as I model ends up being maybe more work than I want to deal with. But we can do it. We can talk about it. Let's get into it right now, and then we'll do more. I'm going to do this outside of context, so I don't have to worry about. Yeah, Nathaniel's on here. He's writing notes, and he's going to turn everything I do into an extension. And you guys won't have to worry about learning. I committed you, Nathaniel. Sorry. So I'm going to do this out of context because I don't want my geometry to join. I want to create a new face that represents my overhang. So what I'll do is I'll come out here, come to the top, draw a line the length of the overhang. So 90% of the times on the plans that I've worked on, overhang is measured straight down, looking down from above, or horizontally outwards. I've had a couple plans that were weird buildings where stuff was measured on the slope, but almost all the time it's measured horizontally. So I'm going to come out here and type a 12, put a 12-inch line in like that. So this is how far my overhang will run. Then it's just a matter of copying this slope, just going down that same slope like that. Here we go. And then depending on what we have for an overhang here, depending on how this is detailed out, if I knew the fascia height, say this is supposed to be 6 inches, I draw a line down 6 inches, draw this back, draw it up, and then that would be my overhang geometry. If I have something else, like I have an exposed tails, the ends of my truss is just going to show, what I could do is take this, offset, I need to offset 2 lines, so I guess it doesn't matter. I can just go this way. I can go this way and go, tell that to come down, whatever the board width is. So we were talking 2.5, so, or 2x4s. So if I go down 3.5 inches, that gives me that length, and I can carry that up. And then that could be my geometry for my overhang. Regardless of what it is, it's just a matter of modeling it in 2D on the face first. I like that box better. We're gonna say this is what our overhang's supposed to look like. Then what I could do in this gable's pretty simple, right? Because I could take this, I could say mirror that, copy it, the ridge. I'll give it to me on both sides, and I can just pull this down to here. Double click there. And if that looks good, I could grab that geometry, cut it, come into context, edit, paste in place, and then just do a little bit of cleanup. These are the parallel, or the tail overhangs, obviously. Be a little bit different on the ends. What I got going on here, I don't know, maybe I got, again, maybe that offsets. grab this and this, offset that by whatever I need. I don't want to get too much into details because this is where this is going to change depending where you're at, depending what your architect likes to call out, whatever this stuff is, you know, that's something, but I would add that geometry after. So things like the ladders or whatever is causing the overhang on the gable side, I would put that geometry on later. I'm just going to undo it all. But that's how I would go about this piece. If I was to come back and we wanted to add, so we do the same thing here. So I could actually, I didn't copy that. I should have copied it. Take this and make it a group. Control C to copy it. And come out here, and V, and then we can paste that right here. And then what I could do is I can just actually, what I should do is paste it in place. We'll just cut it and bring it. We'll put it in here with this. We know what we're doing now.
You don't have to worry about breaking it, right?
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
To think. I haven't saved anything. You guys notice that?
Why bother?
Yeah.
Makes for bad TV.
Boring. All right, now we'll copy this around. Oops. I'm okay with it merging with my geometry, so I'm not going to worry about keeping it as a separate group or anything. There we go.
So while you're sticking your tongue out and thinking about this, Nathaniel said he's taking notes because his own complex roof is not, or it still has some limitations. So he's just trying to figure it out. He may not be making a new plugin, but he's at least trying to understand how to make it better.
So that got me close to what I needed. It did erase some geometry, so I would have to come in and clean that up.
If you would not put it inside the group, just saying.
We would have stayed outside. Yeah, we could have joined it together afterwards. Could have done we definitely could have. Yeah, we could play with solid tools. There's a couple options we could have done there. Yeah, Instant Roof by Valley Architects is a good roof tool. I'll say that there's actually a handful of roof tools out there that are good. Even 1001-bit Tools has a free version that does a hip roof generator. It's a good way to get initial geometry created. I will say that it is good to understand how to get this geometry in yourself, regardless of because every one of those tools sooner or later hits a roof that doesn't make sense, right? Or you can't quite get it to match the way it shows in the drawing or something like that. So it is good to have some tools to do that also. I'm not defending myself. I'm just saying for your guys' own sake, for your own sake, it's good to learn.
Yeah, you've got a good example down the line there that it's going to break all the things and you try and make it.
We're going to get silly. Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else we could show on a box like this because we did. Oh, somebody's asking about a mansard. Yeah, all a mansard roof is. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to offset this. All we do with a mansard roof is same thing. I'm going to take this. Rotate my planes up. Down the middle. When we talk about a mansard roof, all we're really talking about is a hip where the face is higher up, right? So if I take this, let me do this. I'm just going to copy this plane up like this, take it, rotate it, same thing, 6/12. And then rather than having that start at the heel right here, we'll say this isn't very tall. This is a pretty small building, but so I'm going to draw a line down 12 inches. And I'll take that, put that right there. And then we say intersect with model, and then So that's not a fairly simple solution. Just taking that same plane and moving it up.
Randy asked about doing 2 different pitches.
Absolutely. Let's say that down here on this side, we have take this and say this is a 312 down here because somebody's just a silly goose. I'll option rotate that up. We'll say 3 over 12. I'll draw a line over like this just to get myself a plane. There we go. Intersect face with model, and then get rid of that. So just the same as what we did here. It's just when we rotate that up, we rotate it to a lower pitch or a higher pitch, whatever that is, where it's asymmetrical as opposed to this being a symmetrical pitch. So yeah, pretty simple. Like I said, I think one of the biggest problems. So I used to teach framing and design software to people, and 3D modeling was difficult. This was, I'm old, so I used to teach people this like 28 years ago. I started teaching it. Dang, that hurts.
Yeah, it seems to me like you probably were too young to be teaching anybody anything 28 years ago, though. So that's weird.
I was on the young edge, young end. I was a recent high school graduate teaching software to 60-year-old engineers, and it was a situation. It was something. But one of the hardest things to teach people in 3D, especially back then when everything was drawn in 2D. I mean, even AutoCAD could kind of do 3D, but most of everything was laid out in 2D. So to go in and actually try to think of how pitches were created in 3D, it was a hard ask. It was a hard to visualize. So we would talk about it in this idea of planes, having surfaces that were at slopes, and they would just kind of go out there and intersect other pieces. But that concept really, I think, helps to visualize stuff like this. So that's why I say taking that page and then rotating it, and then, or that page, that surface, that face, and rotating it and making it, into a group or something so you move it around is kind of a cool way to do it. Yeah, let's keep going. I should be grouping things. Hold on. Make that a group. Did I group everybody else? Everybody else is grouped. All right.
So Bill's wondering if the pitch angle, the 612 pitch angle, works with rotated rectangle.
I don't know. Rotated rectangle came along after I was no longer doing this stuff, so it's possible. Let's try it real quick. I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm just going to give myself a flat plane to work on. And we'll do some different heights in these next couple examples too. So oh boy. Must be Friday. All right, let's try this. This is the third time. All right. 4, 3, 6.
I heard that's the charm.
Friday's the charm?
No, third time's charm. Friday's when I'm in love.
Okay.
But that's unrelated, I guess.
Well, hey, congrats on that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's draw a shape, and let's make a rotated rectangle. All right, so with this, I'm going to first draw my base here to here. And then I'm going to come up, let's see, 6, 12. Did not like that. So no, you apparently cannot use rotated rectangle that way. Now we know. Thanks, guys. All right, I'm going to do this a couple different ways too, because I want to look at the two main ways I did this already and talk about it. So autofold can be used. So if I was to draw my planes in 2D, or if I was to import a CAD file, I might already have this. So I could do something like that, and then I could grab this edge and this edge and this edge maybe, and move them vertically. So if I knew the height, I could do that. I could just stretch it right up. In this case, I did, because this is a 10-foot span with a 612. The ridge is going to be the same across all these buildings. So AutoFold will let you do that. And this is kind of, like I said, this is sort of the example we give in, you know, how to use SketchUp. Simple. We talk about, oh, look how cool it is. You drag it up there. And it is cool. And if you know exactly the height, that's definitely a viable option. I'm going to pretend I'm dumb and don't know that height and go about the same process I would go about that we've been using so far. So I could take this one, option, rotate that to 612. Grab this one, rotate it again. Option 612. And then I got this surface right here. Now what I can do is I can actually take that and I can move it with the modifier key to copy to right here, and then rotate that 90 degrees. Now what I can do is I can take this one all the way through. If that happens, by the way, that's flipping backwards. For whatever reason, it's expecting me to pull this way and I'm pulling backwards, so it's giving me this weirdness. Tap option in that, it creates a brand new surface, and then I get what I expect. It will leave an extra piece of material between, but knowing that I'm going to come in here and delete that anyhow, that extra face under the bottom doesn't really matter. All right, same thing here. I'm going to pull this back to here. And there's a couple ways I can go about this next piece. So I could take that and bring that all the way through to the ridge. And then what I'd have to do is draw an edge here, draw an edge here, and then also get inside here and get rid of those extra faces. So maybe either pop my head in here and start deleting stuff, or I could, if I want to satisfy that stitching itch I get, you guys know about that, how I like to stitch stuff together, I could click, 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 and then erase those. That would get that for me too. But probably the quickest and easiest way to do this is to go to move and just select that point and drag it straight back till it hits that ridge. This also works if these aren't symmetrical. So if I grab this and I'll drop it down a little bit, I can still take this and I can bring it out and it's going to intersect with the face, which is kind of nice. So I was snapping, I just wanted to point out that I don't have to snap to the ridge to make that work. I can actually have that work either way. Now, when it gets less awesome, less good, is what happens. I'm just thinking of all the scenarios I've run into over the years and just blurting them out. So like I said, you guys got specific questions, of course, throw it out here. But what happens when your roof design looks something like this, where, you know, when this comes through, it actually ends up like that? I guess that's an option. Your detail could be this. I could actually, I don't know why you do that, but you could.
I don't think I've ever seen that before, but no judgment.
Oh, you judge away. I know you're already thinking about judging.
The fact that I mentioned a judgment suggests there is in fact a judgment.
Absolutely. So what I got to do in this case, what I want to do is I want to actually run this slope back up. So what I have to do is figure out if this slope continued as it's going, where would that intersect this face? And I'll be honest, this is where I'm just going to start getting quick and dirty, because there's probably some ways to, I don't know. What I would do is one of two things. This would be my knee jerk, would be to grab this surface, grab it, option copy it right up to here, and then just trace that line, and then get rid of all the extra. And then that's going to give me that geometry with the overlapping hips. This same thing is what would happen if, so let's say I come into this guy, we'll bring this down, we'll just come down 2 foot. Same thing would happen here, right? So let's make that a group. We'll bring this over here. And now we got clean things up. Pull this. Sometimes I wonder if the things I do cause me more work than if I had just drawn the thing from scratch.
Started from scratch.
That wasn't too bad. That was catastrophized. Okay, so here's a cool thing though. So this right here, this what I'd be tempted to do is again rotate to pull those two lines up, create that face. What I could do, I can still kind of leverage this because I can say option copy that, bring it here, rotate it from here to here. But I can't just go grab this and scoot it over because that's just going to stretch stuff out. So that's not creating a new pitch. That's actually creating an asymmetric pitch because this is saying it's 612, and as I pull it over, that other one's leaning down. What I want to do instead is maybe something like copy that over to here, and then I can just do this. Maybe, I don't know.
I feel like fuchsia lines are always the most satisfying.
They are. Yeah, it's like a superpower because you're referencing something that doesn't exist. It's cool. It's like a laser sight.
Yeah.
So same thing. I'll pull that out to the ridge like that. I forgot to intersect. Do some intersecting, cleaning up. Intersecting. Same thing happens here. The other thing I could do if I don't want to, I said the easiest thing is just to grab this plane, but if I didn't want to grab the whole plane, I could do something like this, get a fuchsia line to make Jody happy.
Yay.
So it doesn't really matter. That's a continuation of the plane. That's all that's important so that I can get that trace like that. And then, whoops, too much. I over-E'd there. Yeah, so that would give me that like same geometry.
You should be doing the opposite where you extend the roof line from that right face, pull it out, and then just create a fun little useless hump on it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, like a narwhal roof.
That's right.
It pokes right out there.
I would definitely judge that way more.
Absolutely. As you should. Whoops. I moved instead of. Whoops. All right. So you ever done this? I've shared this tip before, but I do this a lot because sometimes when I'm designing things, my brain is 2 steps ahead of where I am instead of where I should be or where I was. So I will do something like this, like copy something, think I copied something or I've actually moved it. There are 100 undo steps in SketchUp. So I did maybe a dozen, 2 dozen at most. What I can do is I can take this and I can hit Command C to copy it. Here, we'll do it a way you can see. Copy. And I'm going to hit undo a whole bunch of times. I'm going to hit undo so many times that this roof is going to fly back over to the other building. And now that that's over there, I can say edit, paste in place, and it takes that copied version I made before and drops it back in.
Look at that life hack. Boom. What a life hack.
That, someday I gotta express my thoughts on the term life hack because sometimes there's hacks. Sometimes it's just learning to do a thing you didn't know before. Doesn't make it a hack necessarily. But anyhow, moving on. Cool. Yeah.
You're proceeding. We're only 40 minutes into this. Are you ahead of schedule? Is your brain?
Yeah, you guys want to just hang out for a minute or two?
Let's talk about when we saw Barbie last night.
What'd you think of that? Because we modeled Barbie last time you were here, right?
That's right. So I got my finally found a pink shirt, swim and saw Barbie.
Nice.
Yeah, you probably would have used some roofing techniques whenever you were designing her dream house.
Yeah.
Basically, this is just like a repeat.
Pretty much. It's all just Barbie. I did see the request or a question come up about this thing here. This thing in my left hand that's not a mouse. This is a 3D mouse. It is from a company called 3D Connection. And it is a tool that allows me to move the model in 3D space by turning this little puck right here. It leaves this hand open to do things with this mouse. So as a designer, it means I spend less time doing this, which I do still know. I still remember how to use the middle mouse button, which is how most people move around in SketchUp. But by putting it over here, there's a couple things that happen. I'm now freed up to go grab another command or pull up some information, something like that, all whilst still moving. It also gives me, the reason I use it primarily is in presentations like this, because I give you guys some nice, hopefully, generally smooth moves. Every once in a while I panic and run into the side of a building or something like that. But generally more smoother moves. As SketchUp users, we get used to this kind of thing because we do it all the time. But it's not always the most eloquent way to present work to, say, a client. Our brains, because my brain is connected to the fingers doing the scrolling, I'm expecting to zoom in, zoom out. If you're not ready for that, that could potentially be a little jarring. So this is one of the reasons I advocate for a 3D mouse. Is it just ends up being a lot smoother, nicer. It does take some work. If you've not used a 3D mouse before and you want to try it, I recommend it. Go for it. It's awesome. But you might have to work a little bit. All right, let's talk about hips. Let's stick a hip on here. So I did change this a little bit. I made this wing of the house 2 feet narrower than this wing of the house. So when I come in here and I get my edge across here, rotate that up to 6/12, go to the middle, drag that up, and then I can grab this. I can say tools, follow me, that shape. Same thing, and this is what I was talking about before with the overlap, because this was the full length, right? So this distance here across was the length of my profile. When it got over here, where it's 2 foot in, these top peaks run 2 foot this way and 2 foot this way. But it's okay. Fortunately, that's easy enough to clean up. The important part is these faces right down here, the ones that actually got created. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to grab all of this. I'm going to right click and say intersect face with selection. And then I can just come in here and delete those extra faces. And I have that hip going all the way around.
So is it, I mean, I feel like a lot of the same technique would apply, well, not this one, but the previous roof, for like dormers. I've been sitting here for the last 10 minutes trying to remember what the word dormer was.
You got it. Yeah, pulling that ridge back is the big part of the dormer, getting it to tie into the main roof. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, dormers, I'll be honest, dormers, the tough part about dormers is framing dormers, because it's a hole in the roof. And as soon as you put a hole in the roof, stuff's just not good in general. Skylights, whatever. Holes in roofs are problems. But the actual framing of them, generally dormer roofs are real simple and they just sit back on the main part of the roof. So
Tyson just chimed in that he had to go look up a gambrel roof, and it sounds like now he's going to model something with a gambrel roof.
Hey, cool.
I'm pretty sure he just committed to that.
Absolutely. That's what I heard. Come back next week when Tyson models a gambrel roof. So a lot of times, I mean, a lot of roofs end up, similar roofs where I have a lot of gables stacking over each other kind of makes the similar look, whereas the hips everywhere kind of makes a similar look. Of course, a lot of roofs have both, that dormer or the gable end like this in combination with hips. What I would say if you're in that situation is do this first. Get your hips in there, because it's real easy to come into this roof, grab this point right here with move, and just pull it out to the end of the wall. And now that went from a hip back to a gable. So pretty simple, really not too terribly complicated. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we're rolling right along.
Mm-hmm. So as we're talking about these, I mean, this is great for the outer shell, but did you do one where we talked about making trusses, or is that even worth doing, or is that something you send off to someone with specialized truss making software?
Well, honestly, if depending on your position, if you are in the position where you're just doing design, I should say not just like let's just design, like you're just a little designer. That's not what I meant when I said just. I meant not responsible for the framing that goes inside. Then I would say don't worry about it. There's some cases where a designer will have to worry about the truss framing because they have to support girders in the roof or something like that. So specific locations or knowing where something is at is very important. If that's the case, then go ahead and lay them in. But the process of actually creating the 3D trusses or details on how the truss is put together probably isn't necessary. So you could maybe even do like a 2D layout with rectangles. The reason I say don't bother too much is if you're working with a truss manufacturer, at the end of the day, they're responsible for the truss package and making sure it fits on the roof, and they're going to design it anyhow. So I know this because I led a team of truss designers for a local truss shop, and people would give us plans. And it's like, hey, great, that's awesome. And we'll just set those over here, and then we'll design them the way that we know they're going to go.
Here's me doing it my way.
That's right. It wasn't
structurally sound way.
And it wasn't, yeah, exactly. It had nothing to do with going, oh, your work's bad and my work's good. It's the fact that at the end of the day, we're responsible for designing and providing a roof that works for the design requirements. And we can't guarantee that that's what we had in that other package. So, yeah. So generally speaking, I would say if you want to frame for fun, go for it. If you have a tool like Medeek where it's real easy to lay in trusses, awesome, go for it. But don't kill yourself getting perfect truss layouts if you're working with a truss manufacturer, because they're going to do it anyhow. All right, I guess I got on a soapbox here. Sorry about that. Just trying to save you some time.
No, that's good. And it's funny because whenever I designed my shop, which is timber frame, I sent it off to my design off to the timber framing company, and then they did exactly that. They're like, well, that's great. But here's me doing it a different, better way.
It's what's going to happen. All right, let's talk about this. I am going to, and we're doing all these little cases so that when we come over here to this big footprint, we'll mess it all up and try to make a roof that works. So this is 1 hour of education. We'll still have a good half hour of Aaron suffering through something that he probably should have planned for in the beginning.
Well, at least it's not Tyson suffering through that stuff. He gets way more flustered.
I got a couple years on Tyson doing this. That's all. Doing it live. All right. So with this,
he hides it well. So
that's right. Well, he's also got Matt there to make sound effects so you can't hear the sweat.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
All right, so
sweat.
To do this,
great phrase.
I'm going to again create my base geometry, the heels of my whatever framing members they are, at 2 separate heights. What I'll probably also do is maybe group these separate temporarily, and I'll show you why I would do that. Over here, I'm totally going to take a shortcut. We've done this enough times that I'm not going to rotate stuff. I'm just going to say I'm going to take this and I'm going to grab that and move it up to the peak I know exists right here. All right, so that's what we're going to say. That's what we got there. Down here, I want the same exact slope running into what's over here. So I'm going to copy this, Command C, come in here, Command V to paste, put that right here just like I did before. And then I can pull this back to here. So that comes up against the edge. Look at that. Oh, so close. Right there it ends. So now, even though these are two separate groups, I can still inference where the 2 lines meet by using the intersection from here to here to break that, and then use move on this point to pull it back until it hits that roof. And there we go. That is how that would tie together. At this point, if I wanted to, I could leave them as 2 separate roofs. I could make them into one group, come in here, and then just, they're both solids? Nope, something's not solid, so that's okay. I could take both of them, explode them, and then clean them up as I needed, but yeah. Pretty simple. I think a lot of times what happens, this is my thoughts on how people see roofs, is they see these cut up shapes and geometries and go, oh, I can't make that. That's totally understandable. But what you can do is you can break it down into these instances right here, one at a time, model them, and then figure out how they hit together. You can do that. I have faith in you.
It's you'll be happy to know that Eric has showed up and started dropping roof puns, and I'm not even repeating them for you.
He did threaten to step on your pun game, so punny guy.
He's definitely bringing it.
All right, so
yes. I'm going to just call out, because Andy has said this a couple of times now, how blown away he is by the idea of grabbing a point and moving that, because he's always just grabbed lines or faces. So
hey,
you earned your keep in that one tip, at least for Andy.
We're 50 minutes in. Let's just call it then. I have a feeling I'm just going to go downhill from here.
I feel like the going downhill part is actually the funnest, like a roller coaster, right?
For you guys.
Going uphill, boring. Going downhill, yeah.
All right. Let's take a look at this thing right here. This is not a specific house example that I have. This feels like the profile of a building that I would have seen in Colorado at some point and been asked to put a roof on. So we're going to go for it. I don't know what this actually looks like, though, when we're done. So I'm going to start the same way. I'm going to trace it real quick just to create a single surface on it. This is all one height, but as we were talking about, we can make multiple instances of this and get messier and scarier and stupider as we go. I did see some good-looking roof jokes. Actually, well, we should talk about this. This is something we talked about earlier. The term roof versus roof versus roof. I had to over-enunciate there.
Is it roof, or is it supposed to always be roofs? Like, whenever you roof, that is the act of roofing, right? I think.
Sounds good.
Roofers roof for a living, or do they roof, or do they rough? Yeah, it's an annoying word.
It is. It's tough. I know this. I'm gonna over enunciate this, but roof versus roof, almost rough, is a regional thing. Like some people,
very much so,
say roof and really get into that double O, whereas others almost turn into a U with a roof. Yeah. So with this, I want to do a couple things here. I want to start. I'm going to actually take this, slide it over here.
Scratch pad, graveyard, right. Whatever you want to call it. This is where it belongs.
So what can happen with a standard roof like this? So let's say this whole thing is hipped. We just have the same slope coming up off of every single face. What will always happen in that situation is any two, if it's at 90-degree angles, those two faces will always meet at 45 degrees. So what I could do, I could take this edge right here and I could rotate it to 45 degrees. I could do the same thing here. Take that to 45. And then I could take that edge right there. I could put that here. Oops, I should turn on stamp.
Do you have a specific target of people that say rough? Because Randy thought you were targeting Canadians.
Oh, I'm from the Midwest, so I'm not that far from Canadian myself. I mean, as far as talking, we like our vowels just as much as any Canadian. So, most of my family calls me Aaron. So go figure that out.
My wife is from the Midwest, and when we were a courting, I was talking to her in front of her mom about like going down to the pond, and her mom like stopped the conversation. She's like, "Pond? You mean pond?"
Pond.
Like, what?
It's an A.
Pat, no, pond. She was making fun of me for my funny way of saying pond. I'm like, I'm saying it the right way. I may be from Oklahoma, but I at least know how to say that word.
Maybe. Maybe that's the thing you guys have learned.
I'm really hoping that you're going to connect these lines and then do an auto fold, and it's going to be the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Well, the problem with autofold on this is that each of the ridges is going to end up somewhere different. So, unfortunately, it's not going to be that simple. But
Damn it.
yeah, sorry, alas. But this right here, my friends, this is how we used to designers used to have to do this sort of thing, and yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
You mean roof?
Oh, wheels are coming off already, huh? All right. So I'm just doing this to get a quick inference. We'll try pulling it up, Jody. Like you said, we'll grab the ridge lines and start moving them up. But the problem, like I said, I think what we're going to run into pretty quickly is the fact that
it doesn't know where to break or fold.
Yeah, they're all going to come up at different heights and edges, and yeah.
I mean, when it works, autofold is like arguably one of the most amazing things that SketchUp does. But yeah, as you're pointing out, it's the stars have to align.
Yeah. This is gonna come back like this. This is gonna come up here. This is gonna come back down here. There we go. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So this is legacy roof design. But each of these corners, like I said, will come out at 45 degrees. And realistically, there's really only about one way any of this geometry, anything that's lining up perfectly and hitting like this is only because I drew my lines in 2-foot increments. So, all right, so that is what that roof should look like. And I'll be honest, I can't teach you how I did the things I just did, because that's just from years of looking at roofs. So unfortunately,
yeah, no, I got lost 4 times as you were going to set up a next line. I'm like, wait, where's that one go?
I can't tell you what I did. I mean, some of that was just instinct. So if I grab that right now and I try to move that up,
hey, nice. It's an interpretive piece.
This building was in Dune. I remember seeing it. It was towards the back, but yeah. So that doesn't work. But what that does do is gives us an idea. This would be the kind of thing that we would receive with potentially with a plan. So if I was modeling a plan that already existed in SketchUp, I might have a roof plan that looks something like that.
I think your autofold, one thing that's going to fail is all of those peaks are not the same height.
Right. Yeah. So I have this. These two are at the highest, and then drop down below that. We got this one, then we got this height, then we got this height, and the lowest is this height. So yeah, all of that stuff is not there. So there's a couple things we could do here. Is we could try a couple solutions.
Nathaniel said there is a specific algorithm in what you just did. So I don't know if that means he's actually applied it or managed to reproduce it, but that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's all geometry. It's all, in theory, it's all math. I'm not going to claim to have done the math. I did the geometry. I can do geometry. I can do pictures and shapes pretty good. I don't know, when he says algorithm, then math comes into my head, and I get scared. So if I look at this, the main body of the roof. Okay, so again, I'm going to make this a group. We start thinking about roofs. This would be the main body of trusses, would be like right in there. That would be a big hip roof. And then all these other pieces would be little chunks that are framing up on top of it. So as I look at it, like that's the main span. So if I wanted to create my triangle like I did before and do a follow me all the way around, it would be halfway between this line and this line. So that would be this. I would take that line right there. So I do, like I said, I apologize. Some of this is unfortunately something that takes a little bit of time to learn. But looking at that longest span, this doesn't have to be perfect either. We'll see how this could be messy. Something like that. I guess I saved this model once earlier, but I'm just surprising myself in the fact that I still have not saved this again. So
It's
I'm
kind
gonna.
of, or you're tempted to just not save, period, aren't you?
I'm a little bit. I mean, just as like a rebellion to the system. I just kind of don't want to save, but I did. So those of you who were out there pulling your eyebrow hairs out in anxiety, I did it for you. So if I take that outline, I say follow me and click this, I get this, which looks a little yucky, but really this is actually turned out way cleaner than I was expecting. This actually has everything I need to make this roof finalized. So what I would do here, I'm going to undo that. I'm going to take all of that. Kind of like Tyson, but a little more organized.
I've seen him. Okay, sometimes I've seen him be organized like this. So I know he has the capacity to
probably somebody in our team
graveyard.
Probably somebody in our team harassed him earlier that day. That's probably why that's happening. All right, so then what I can do is I can come in here, grab all this, right click, intersect face with selection, and then it's just a matter of it's kind of like trimming,
finding the line to erase
downwards. So I just come at the top. So anything that's sticking up above the roof like this, I know has to go. So just kind of spin around. Erase, erase. I'm not worried about these lines that are on the surface yet because this stuff pops up. This pops up.
So Tyson is here, and Tyson did acknowledge that shots have been fired.
Oh, I think Eric, who's on our team, also one of our live modelers, said he would show up, and I think actually it's Tyson first. He said I'll show up and throw a little shade or something like that, and Eric said, "Well, I'll show up, but I don't know I'll be able to harass you too much." And I said, "It's okay, Jody's back. I got enough harassment. I don't need more help." All right, so with that, deleting all the pieces that are sticking up high, now I can just come in and delete the edges that are left on top of the geometry like this.
Well, this was so easy that you might have to actually kind of respond to some of these requests that are coming in now, which is different wall heights and different roof pitches.
Let's do it. Let's do that. Let's do exactly that. All right. I'll just delete this. We'll start over. All right, let's talk about some things that happen in this kind of stuff. I'm going to break this one here. I'm going to break this here. Let's say this whole living room drops down. All right. So with that, I got some breaks. And then maybe see this front entryway. I'm just going to push this up like 2 foot. I'm going to drop this guy down like 4 foot. Maybe this is like a way lower roof, and then this guy will come down 2 foot. All right, something like that. Process is pretty much the same as what I did before. I'm going to start with some rectangles. Where's the bottom of my truss is going to sit? I'm going to have one there. Have one here. I'm going to have one. Nope, missed it. I gotta come in here and clean this line up. Probably have others like that. Yeah. Oh man. Okay, feel good again. Rectangle here, and then my last shape is going to be the main body of trusses. That'll be here.
It's like one of my main kind of roof stories that I have to ever retell is I have a friend who some years back had the luxury of getting to design or have a house custom built, to his specs. And his, he's just an average person like me. He didn't have a whole bunch of money, but he had in-laws who did, and his mother-in-law was constantly offering in this different feedback. Well, so they designed the house, and then whenever the trusses showed up to set it up, they had not done the pitches quite right, and the pitch was not steep enough for her. It didn't look custom. Put that in air quotes, because apparently you have to have a slightly steeper roof pitch if you want your house to look properly custom. And if it's not steep enough, your house is just basic. I mean, it's off the rack.
What is that, 412?
Exactly right. Every time I think of his house, which is an amazing house, I just think of the non-bespoke roof pitch. How laughable! I'm sure his neighbor. He's the laugh of the town, of the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, the things that make something special, you know, it's amazing. All right, so again, I'll just come back to the same thing. It's just a matter of breaking everything down. So in this case, we see this again. But my personal history with designing roofs or buildings in general was a whole lot of mountain homes, and yeah, all custom, like you're saying, Jody. So there's some stuff they would do. Entryways that were pushed up several feet above the main house. You know, stuff like this where maybe this drops down to a basement, but still has a 20-foot ceiling, stuff like that. Where yeah, we'd have these steps, or even the whole building would step in some cases. Actually, let's do that. I want to do that. I'm gonna come in here. Let's say this steps down. Also, let's just get truly silly. So push this down another foot. Drop this. Why would you do a little step like that? I don't know, because you can afford to. But yeah, let's. Cool. So we'll have multiple steps in the roof here. All right. Open courtyard and center. See, that's something I never designed for, because mountain house is like 75% of the time you're there, you're inside.
Yeah, and you don't want to end up with big pile of snow in the middle of your house.
Doesn't work well.
So right. Nathaniel, I'm just gonna read what Nathaniel said here, and then maybe you can process this. The situation is where his own complex roof algorithm has some limitations, but note the fascia lines, even as they step up or down, will eventually all return to the same point. I don't know if he's responding to someone else or just observing what you're working on.
Yeah, at the end of the day, as long as, with these steps, as long as everything ties together at the end. So sometimes what will happen is something like this. I think this is what he's going for, is you'll have a situation like this where it'll step, but then they'll change the overhang length. So the end of the fascia is the face that ends up on the outside will all be the same, because they'll extend the overhangs or change the pitch or something like that. Yeah, there's definitely ways to make ugly things less ugly if you need to. All right, so I'm going to make this one group, break that apart. I'm going to say this is just a hip that's going to wrap all the way around. So I'm going to do the same thing I did before, line straight across. I'm going to grab that, and we'll say the bulk here. We'll go a little higher because we got the money to do it, right? So we'll do a 10, 12 on the. Actually, generally what would happen is the big trusses might have a lower pitch, and the ones coming in will have a higher pitch, because then I can keep the height down. Trusses, when they go places, they usually go on a truck. Anything taller than 13 feet has to get capped and broken into smaller pieces. So maybe this would be like we'll just get stupid. Let's try 10 over 12. See how tall that is. 12'6". We're golden. All right. And then I will take this again. Follow me. There we go. Looks sweet. Grab all of that. Intersect face with selection. Delete these extra. Whoops, I deleted too much. I have said too much. All right, there we go. Get rid of the extra lines in there. All right. That main portion of that roof is done. Make group. All right, and down here, let's go ahead and let's take this and just have like maybe we'll go 12.
A bar. Oh,
sure. Let's say 12, 12. Let's go real high. Woo. Maybe this is going to be stick built or something.
Yeah, we haven't really touched on A-frames, which we mentioned at the beginning. So
There you go. Look. Did it.
oh my goodness. That's something.
That, and then down here, I'm going to say that what we have is like a hip roof and then a hip roof. So stacking hip roof. This hip roof will go in that hip roof, that sort of thing. And I'm going to do that very, very similar to how we did the rest. I'm going to come right here, grab this edge, bring that up to, we'll go back down to our standard, oops, 6/12. Bring that up to here. And then I'll just grab this edge, and this edge. And just with those three edges, I'll say follow me, and that'll give me that hip coming right up against the edge. And then, actually, you know what? I'm not gonna mess with any geometry yet. I'm just gonna grab that, make it a group, and I'll do the same thing down here. This edge. And then same thing. Just grab these three sides. 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait, before I do that. Oh no, I did group that. Okay. I couldn't remember if I did that. I know it was the last thing I did, but I already forgot.
He'll group stuff, but he won't save.
Fine. All right, now I did everything. Hope everybody's happy. All right.
Nothing can go wrong.
Nothing could possibly go wrong. So at this point, you know, this is not good looking. This is not attractive, but let's work into blending the roofs together. So first thing, oops, we'll start with this one. I'm going to go turn my hide rest model off. And then again, like I was saying before, I'll draw a line right here where it intersects this above roof. And then I can use move on this point to just pull it back so it hits the roof. There we go. The reason I left this one is because if I cut it off, it would break right here. But I don't actually want to do that, because what I want to do is come to this point and take that point straight back till it hits the roof. And then from there, I'm going to come back to where it hits here. So this gets a little weird because I have an odd slope. See, that's not symmetrical. If it's symmetrical, I could follow this and just bring it back down. Since this one isn't, I need to figure out where this plane will intersect. The easiest way that I can think of is tie this back to here. That'll give me a plane, and then I can just kind of trace that face like that. Get rid of that extra.
Randy asks a really good question: is at what point in this design does a builder jump for joy, and at what point do they just pass out? They just faint.
Yeah, look at that. Oh, that's something.
It really is.
Ooh. All right. This guy right here, of course, is the simple one. So this is, because it's higher up, it's going to hit higher on the roof. So I'll do two things. First is we'll pull this back. Actually, no, I can't do that. I got to do move. I can't push pull because push pull won't intersect with the face like that. There we go. And then probably do something like this. Break it like that. And then take that guy back till he hits the roof. And then one more move. Take the peak back till it hits the roof. And then that gets my everything intersecting back into the geometry. Good to go. And this guy right here, despite being the biggest, is the simplest, because all I got to do is break it right here. Grab that.
I like the idea of that not actually connecting and just being a facade, you know, like the old, like a movie set.
Hey, I mean, you might have some indoor pooling. Like a little snow trap right there on the roof, but it is possible. All right, so that is solved for 1, 2, 3, 4 different heights and 1, 2, 3 different pitches. That's how I would go about that. Again, it's a matter of breaking it down into smaller pieces, creating that geometry, and then putting it all together. The part that gets tricky with this is not tricky. I shouldn't say it's tricky, but putting my overhangs into this, because that does become a little bit more work. Let's take a look at that. Excuse me, because I want to take a look at something else. So let's go ahead and get an overhang on here. Again, to draw my horizontal dimension, we'll say it's 12 inches again, and we'll drop that straight down, and then I'll come here, get my fascia height, and then draw that line back and up. And that gets me, there's my little box overhang. We'll mirror that over to the opposite side, and then I can grab them, push, pull, and then I'll get this sort of thing going on, because that's where it disappears into the model. So I can triple click, intersect face with model, and there we go. I got those two pieces. I'm going to cut them, come into context, edit, paste in place. That in context, out of context thing, that's up to you if you want to mess with that. You don't. That's not a requirement. You could do that however you wanted to. Like I said, I just like doing it because then I'm not committed to making that geometry part of the big model until I'm ready. From there, let's go ahead and go to edit. I'm sorry, view, component. I still haven't mapped Hydra as a model yet. I needed to get that done. I can delete these extra pieces. And depending on what the model's for, too, I will sometimes spend stupid amounts of time cleaning up geometry so I get solids, which is totally unnecessary. But I 3D print too much, so that's how I think about everything. All right, let's keep going. Let's look at, generally in this case, I'd probably work my way up the building. So maybe I'll come right here, do this guy. We have a flat surface to work on right here. So let's do it in context this time. Come here, come across 12, carry this down here, get my fascia in there, back and up. There's my shape. And then what I could do is I could actually follow me the way you're not supposed to. Bring that around back to here. I say not supposed to, a little tongue-in-cheek. You can do that. It doesn't always work well. This particular instance, it's going to be fine. It's going to be okay. Same thing here. This one's going to end up a little bit different, but I could do the same thing. Come over 12, drop it down, follow that till it hits, come down 6. My box, and then I'll just do the same thing. This one seems to be a little different because one of the things that's going to happen here is that roof is going to go inside of this roof. So I may actually want to come in here, grab the planes that are going to be affected by that. Ah, see, I'm doing it again. Really worried about making this solid, and I probably don't have to be. I know I don't have to be, but I'm doing it anyway.
Thank you for doing it. I'm sure there's somebody who's not real OCD is, their itch is being scratched right here.
All right, you're welcome. All right, so if I do a group select like that, that grabs all the planes that intersect with that other roof, actually, except for that one. I don't need that. And I should be able to right click, intersect face with model, not context or selection, but model. That's going to look at everything and see where any of these planes hit it. And that'll give me that intersection right there. So what I could do here, some of this may be above and beyond. Some of this might be a little extra modeling here that's maybe not necessary. But I could. So
now what I want you to do is take this into Saphira and check out the energy efficiency, like how good or bad this whole entire design is for keeping your house hot or cold.
Let's assume it's just good. Goodish. All right. So something like that, maybe. so I would have to include a couple extra lines where that comes up on top. I gotta get the shortcut key mapped because this is bugging me. Like that, so we get that intersection. Looking good. All right, this guy's super simple, right? Because this guy right here, he's just gonna go over 12. Granted, 12's a longer overhang when you're twice the pitch.
Peter has an interesting request here. Is on one of these larger roof surfaces, could you add a skylight?
Sure, because let me show you what a skylight looks like.
I mean, could just be a hole, right?
There we go. Yeah, from where we are at, where we're just blocking in geometry, it's pretty much that. If I want to, one of the things, well, yeah, let me come back to skylight. I'll talk about a skylight in a minute, because the thing about a skylight, the difficult part becomes the shaft, the what happens inside, which really is more of an issue when it comes to framing. It's pretty easy to drop a hole inside of SketchUp, but we'll talk about a couple different ways we do that. All right, last one is the main roof, and the way here's how I would go about this. Actually, I would do this separate. I would not do this as part of the model or not part of this group. And I'll show you guys exactly why I say that. So I'm gonna do the same thing, come over 12, drop down, come up here, and then go fascia, box, created. So what I might do here, hide these guys, and then I wonder if I could do a push pull around the whole thing as opposed to pre-selecting. Oh no, because edges have to be in context. So here's what I would do here.
Circle with a line through it is saying no.
Yeah, that's what it's doing. All right, I'm gonna hide the rest of the model. I'm gonna grab this face, copy it, come in here, and I'm gonna double click to make this a group. Go into that group, say edit, paste in place to give me all of that, and now just click follow me to this. I don't actually need that inside there. So that gives me just the fascia.
So here's a teachable moment. Is Elmer is requesting that if the hide rest of model shortcut is that important, maybe you can show us how it's done.
Absolutely. It's one of those things that I don't know. Why am I beating my head against the wall right here? I don't know, because I don't know.
Well, and adding some of those shortcuts, like the ones where you've got to have the right tool selected at the right time, kind of thing. It's never bad. It's never a bad thing to show how to actually accomplish that. Because
absolutely, yes. If I come into shortcuts, I can find hide rest. There it is, hide rest model, and then I just type in the shortcut key I want. I think this is why I didn't do it, is because I have a shortcut key that I know I like to use, but I don't remember what it is. And I don't remember what it is because I mapped it to my Space Mouse in the previous version and didn't move that over. I think it was Shift H. Shift H. Oh, I don't have anything. There we go. All right, that's good.
So you said I don't have anything, but you didn't really clarify. You have to have.
Oh, I was not in context, so there's nothing when I was tapping it over. I just hit Command H and hid my screen. Oh, must be Friday. You know, here's the problem. I'm on vacation next week, so everything's extra hard right now.
Nice. You've already checked out.
Shift H. What was that command I just snapped 3 seconds ago? Oh boy. All right, there we go.
H something.
So yeah, so when I'm out here not in context, I'm just in the general model, I can toggle that all I want. It doesn't change anything. But if I go into something and hit it, then I can switch it on and off. But yeah, good call. Thank you, Elmer. Speaking of which, all right, so now I'm going to come in here. Like, what did I do? Why did everything go away? Yeah, Command H to hide your current window if you guys are ever looking for a fun shortcut to hit. I'm going to grab all of this geometry, and I'm going to say intersect face with model again. That's going to give me breaks every place that this geometry hits another piece of the roof out there. That's going to give me these lines right here, which is the most important part. That's what I want, is just to be able to see that. Now I'm going to take this one right here. I'm going to grab all that geometry, copy it. Actually, we can just cut it. That's fine. Come into context here, edit, paste in place. And now I can just run around, get rid of these pieces. And I mean, this is kind of up to me. Like, how much more cleanup do I need to do? Do I want to go in and make it solid, or is all it's important is that I get my lines there at the breaks? I guess that's up to you. I defer to you on that. But yeah, that's how I would put my overhangs in, like that.
All right. Build it. Frame it.
I know I have these two other options. Or wait, hold on. Well, that's all the models I was prepped for. All right, I do want to show one other thing, because this is a roof that showed up all the time out here, and I don't know why this was so cool, but I'm
gonna also return to the dormer thing, because if you've got a roof and then you decide you want to add a dormer to it,
sure.
Like, what is a way?
So dormers, all dormers really are. We're gonna talk about a skylight too. I forgot about that. This is all a dormer is.
That's where I was going with that.
Right, is a little box that gets built up on top of the roof, and that box gets.
Oh, I didn't see it. Peter also asked about a bell roof. I don't even know what that is.
I've never even heard of that.
Look that up. Oh, it's literally, it's almost like a cupola, or it seems to be on the top of.
There we go.
A roof resembling the shape of a bell.
Oh, where it comes down and then goes out. Again, just
it could be, yeah. It could be round, multi-sided, or square.
Yeah, I mean, just to go back to the basics here. Mansard,
layer at the bottom.
Any of these kinds of anything like this, what you're going to do is take this. I'll spin this up to whatever my lower pitch is. So say my lower pitch is like, we'll do a mansard. So 12, 12, like that. And then at whatever distance it changes, so say this comes in for 18 inches. Then we're going to break it right there. And then we're going to take this part and rotate it wherever that's supposed to be. Right, so I'm going to put it back to flat, and then I'll rotate it up to 412. And then I can go find the middle. Yeah, that gets me that profile. So take that. So it's just a matter of, and then the bell is just the opposite. It's a lower pitch first and then a higher pitch second. Like that. So really, again, get the line where you need it, get the surface where you need it. Yeah, pretty simple. I know it's the thing that I found a lot of people when they get into roofs is it's scary, right? Because it's a whole bunch of planes. That's where groups come in. Because as long as all the geometry you want to keep is in its own group, you can't mess it up. You can put planes everywhere, put 300 planes in, and it's really not going to matter. Your surfaces are going to be able to cut later. Like the same right here with this dormer. It's just a hole on top of the roof. No big deal. But yeah, the other thing I just wanted to, because this would drive me crazy because we had so many of these. I don't know why, but see these kind of windows. Maybe this is just a popular mountain home thing, like I said, because I worked on those so many. But we'd always get these weird little, not octagonal, but 45-degree sections, something like this on kitchen nooks all over the place. That constantly happen. Uh, So we'd see that. And now the thing about this is you can't do the same thing that we were doing, because what happens if you put the same roof on these 45s as you put on the rest, they don't work. They don't end up in the same spot. So what you got to end up doing, I can't snap. I got to call it. I forgot how to snap to points. All right, let's try that again. So what happens here is I'll take this just like I've been doing. We'll just do 612 again. Midpoint here, bring that up. All right, so this is my shape here. So bring that out like this. What you got to do is take this, put that right here, and then let's take this and flip that around. That. So saying, like, it's okay. Make a mess. It's really acceptable. It's totally fine. Because even with this mess, I can pretty quickly take this and, we'll grab this edge and roll that back to here. That closes up. Right here, so what happens if everything ends up the same, then this is what I end up with. There we go.
Find it.
That would no. Oh, all right, let's move you. I'm just gonna move you. What are you gonna say about that? All right.
100 undo steps, as you said earlier.
Yes.
You can always screw up 199 times.
Yeah, and then I just clicked on a wrong point again because I can't snap. Apparently, I don't. Oh boy, it's getting rough. It's getting rough.
We move from Aaron does cool stuff to this isn't what you should do.
What not to do. All right, so it's just saying look how easy it is to just do all this. It really is not that hard. Oh, I just snapped. I missed a snap again. Am I just going fast? I'm just hurrying or something? I don't know. Okay, this all turned into a horrible, horrible mess. Oh no. I was going to show how easy it was to do this. And then it didn't be easy. So what you end up having to do in this situation is faking that this slope right here. And that ends up being just a different slope. But it's really easy to do in SketchUp really in the end, because all you need is that ridge point, and then you can just kind of snap around to those pieces there. Showing the difficulty in it was actually a lot harder than just showing the right way to do it. But then this, as you can imagine, overhang just snaps around there. Super easy. Just to hop in real quick and go back and talk about what we were talking about with skylights. So all a skylight is a hole punched into a roof. So if I look at a roof like this, if I had it in as a solid, that would actually be like the easiest way to do it. So I'm guessing I got some edges in here. Whoa, yeah. Let's get rid of all this. One too many. Why are you not close? Oh, that's why.
Now it's getting, because you're not hitting points. You're not snapping to the right points
I
again.
am a mess. It's all falling apart. Everything. All right. And there's something inside of here. That's why. There we go. Troublemaker. Okay. Now that is a solid. So I could do this with solids because I come over here and say, okay, let's say I got a 24 by 36 skylight. Pull that straight up. I could make that into a group, and I could, you know, wherever that is, I could punch that straight through. So this would work right here if this was more like a chimney, where I'm measuring that space. This is 24, this is 36, and it's going to intersect here. The issue with a skylight is that this shape, right, this is my 24 by 36. This needs to actually be like this. So that becomes, it's not more difficult, but what I have to do at that point is drop that vertically to the bottom of the roof, make that into a new group. And then I could actually just take that geometry. If I want to make it a solid, I could do this. I could also just cut this right out of the roof.
Seems like at some point using sandbox tools would be advantageous.
So I could take that solid tools, subtract from here, and there we go. That's my vertical skylight for a 2 foot by 3 foot component. Over here, this is my chimney. Drop that all the way down. That's supposed to stick up like that. Same thing, I could take that solid, I could go to tools, and I would use probably trim to cut it out of this roof. So then my roof, there we go. And there's different things too with skylights. You know, sometimes they taper, they flare out. So I could always come in here, grab these pieces, maybe scale that out from the middle to flare that a little bit. I'd have to clean up how this happens at an angle, but really, again, simple geometry when you get down to it. Just a matter of getting those surfaces in the right spot, intersecting with each other, and, you know, making a more complex roof like that is not terribly difficult.
That feels like one of those projects, the type of project where I get in trouble whenever I'm working on something. I get in trouble when I start trying to do it the fast way instead of just being slow, taking my time. Like if you just
break
slow
it down
but steady, you'll get there.
Break it down, small pieces. Don't. Well, it's just like learning SketchUp, right? This should not be the first house you model. This should not be the first. This shouldn't be the first house you model. Well, this shouldn't either. The one I did before that I got rid of. Start simple and work your way up. And yeah, don't start with the most complex thing, and then just take it one step at a time. Break it down into small steps. Yeah, I'm gonna call it. I don't really want to do anymore. I'm tired.
I think that's good. Based on the last 3 little examples you did,
we're good.
It might be time for you to go on vacation.
Sounds awesome. Cool. Well,
Are you gonna go somewhere?
No, I'm just gonna stay here and not do stuff.
Nice.
That's my dream vacation. Just don't work.
Well, the good news is it'll probably rain in the afternoon on whichever day you're doing it.
Odds
or
are
not
good.
doing it.
That's how we roll here in Colorado. Awesome. Well, hey, thank you all for showing up and hanging out with us. This was a ton of fun. A couple reminders. We are coming up on 500,000, 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we're doing a little little fun thing over on our forum where we're asking you to submit a warehouse link to a model that is inspired by 500,000. So far, we only have a couple of them, but what we'd like to do is check out your model, show them on a live stream, kind of look at them. So if there's something you want to show, you want to do, then yeah, bring it over there, bring it to us. But bring it.
So bring it to YouTube, not to the forum.
To the forum. No, bring it to the forum, and then we'll show it on YouTube. Okay. We'll show it everywhere we live stream, actually. So yeah, wherever you're watching, it'll end up there. Thanks, guys. This was a lot of fun. Next week, come back. Eric will be here in the fun seat. I don't call it the hot seat because it's fun. It's good times. But yeah, we'll be hanging out with Eric, and Eric will be showing something. I think he told me what it was, but I think I forgot. I'm going on vacation, apparently. Shut it down.
It's not your problem.
I won't even be here. But no, Eric will be showing something. He'll be modeling. He'll be doing some awesome stuff. So come back next week. And thank you guys for joining us. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful week next week. And we will see you next time.
See you guys later.